Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Parkinson's disease and then the cellular physiology and signs and symptoms. So, what is Parkinson's disease? So, Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative brain and nervous system disorder which causes neurons to slow down or stop the production of dopamine in a part of the brain called substantia nigra. And then the first clear medical description was made by James Parkinson in his paper called An Essay on the Shaking Palsy, and it was renamed Parkinson's disease in the late 1800s. Over 10 million people in the world are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and incidences increases with age, but 4% of the people diagnosed with Parkinson's are under the age of 50, so incidence is higher in people over 50. And then men are 1.5 times more likely to get Parkinson's than women. And then earlier I talked about the substantia nigra. And right here in someone without Parkinson's, you can see those bands. And that's because that's full of dopamine and neurons that produce dopamine. So you can see that here. And then right here, you can see that someone in Parkinson's is completely diminished. Alright, so what isn't working? So the cause of death of the dopaminergic neurons is still unknown and being researched. But the death of dopaminergic neurons leads to the lack of dopamine, and this leads to muscle disorders. So right here, you can see, this is what a normal dopaminergic neuron looks like. So right here, you can see dopamine traveling from the dopaminergic neuron to the D1 receptor. So the D1 receptor is gonna excite a signal, so it's going to relay a message, and if the dopamine gets released gets received from the D2 receptor, it's going to inhibit an action, so it won't get received. But with someone here again, you can see a normal neuron, so when the dopamine reaches the D1 receptor, normal movement occurs. But right here, you can see that someone with Parkinson's disease, they don't have much dopamine. And when there's not enough dopamine, it can't inhibit or excite an action. So it's going to lead to these movement disorders. So some of these signs and symptoms or movement disorders that can occur is tremor, which is shaking, bradykinesia, which is slowed movement or reaction, and then rigid muscles. And right here you can see more different signs and symptoms, which is mask-like face, which is your muscles in your face don't move, so it kind of looks like a mask. You can also get a hunchback, slow movement, reduced arm swing, rigidity, which again is a slow muscle stiffness, freezing, shuffling steps, and then the asymmetric resting tremor, so it happens in one limb. And then treatment and prognosis. There is no cure for Parkinson's disease, but there are treatments to relieve some of the symptoms. So the most common treatment used to treat Parkinson's is levodopa, which is used to help relieve some bradykinesia, tremor, and rigid muscles. For untreated patients, Parkinson's can lead to deterioration of the brain functions and can lead to an early death. But fortunately, for those who do receive treatment, life expectancy is close to normal. And that's about it. So here's my works cited. Thank you.